Welcome to the Hill Update. I'm your host, Dean Allison, Member of Parliament for Niagara West. Big news this week. The Conservative caucus voted to oust their leader, Aaron O'Toole. Mr. O'Toole lost the vote 45 to 73. The decision was made during a virtual meeting Wednesday. Mr. O'Toole is the first party leader to be removed by his own caucus under the Reform Act. Many Conservative supporters throughout Canada have for months called for a leadership review. There were many factors for this discontent, and I personally heard them from several of my constituents, especially after last year's election. The most common complaint was that Mr. O'Toole forgot that he was a Conservative. Many people were unsure where he stood on many issues and whether he was going to flip-flop again, as he had done on several key policies late last year, including on the carbon tax, of which he introduced his own after promising not to, and on firearms regulations. This flip-flopping seemed to have angered many supporters and specifically the party base. The last straw seemed to have been Mr. O'Toole's lukewarm and hesitant support for the Freedom Convoy of truckers taking place in downtown Ottawa. Carson Jerema, writing for the National Post, put it this way: for Aaron O'Toole, the trucker convoy crystallized everything that has plagued his leadership, expressing opposing positions within days of each other, appearing embarrassed to be a Conservative, being outshined by his own caucus, and leaving everyone unsatisfied in the end. Jerema went on to say that O'Toole was suspicious of his own caucus from the beginning and appeared determined to irritate them whenever he could. In a last-ditch effort to save his leadership, Mr. O'Toole is said to have tried soliciting support from caucus members by suggesting that if he survived, he would be willing to change some of his policies he had campaigned on just a few months ago. These policies were changed by Mr. O'Toole without consultations with other MPs or party members. Mr. O'Toole was also said to have promised to move up the leadership review with members before the one scheduled at the party's national convention in 2023. Those promises did not sway those that wanted him out sooner rather than later. 73 members, which is 62% of the caucus, decided that a change was crucial to correcting course. One thing that must be mentioned about the Conservative Party of Canada is that there are many tents within it, some more powerful than others. However, the one thing that unites them all is that they call themselves Conservatives. When almost every tent no longer deems their leader is to be representing their principles, their values, or their policies, it is difficult for that leader to continue on. When the grassroots, which members of parliament are particularly attuned to, voice their concerns to the extent that was done in the last several months, it gave many Conservative MPs no choice but to vote him out. Warren Kinsella of the Toronto Sun said this: O'Toole tried to be all things to all people and ended up being nothing at all. O'Toole says he will stay on as the Conservative MP for Durham. After losing the vote, Mr. O'Toole filmed a 6-minute video that he posted to social media. In the video, he said that he formally stepped down after the result. He also pledged his loyalty to the party's next leader and urged all Conservatives to do the same. Mr. O'Toole also offered some parting thoughts on what he thinks the party needs to do, saying that while it has its ideology, it also must win power. MPs close to Mr. O'Toole went to their social media to express their thanks for having served as leader of the opposition for the past 18 months. Elaine Reyes, the Conservative Party's Quebec lieutenant, said this: politics is difficult, often thankless, sometimes cruel. I would like to sincerely thank Aaron O'Toole for his dedication as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. So, what happens now? The Conservative Party will go into a no leadership race. MPs were already expressing their views for the future of the Conservative Party. Matt Genereux, Member of Parliament for Edmonton Riverbend, said this: as a party, we must rebuild trust amongst Canadians and show them that we are strong and stable leaders who are rooted in our Conservative values, while also understanding that we can evolve, learn, and modernize our party to reflect all. Commentators have come out saying that there is a civil war within the party, one side being the old Reform Party and the other being the Progressive Conservative Party of the wing. I personally don't see this happening. It's still too early to tell what will happen, but like any party, the Conservatives would like to get back into power. And to do so, the best thing to do is to stay united. They will do so under their new interim leader, Candice Bergen, voted by caucus on Wednesday night. As an MP myself, I want to wish MP Bergen the best of luck in her new position. Joining me on the show when we come back from break is going to be Harold Jonker. He is the operations manager of Jonker Trucking in West Lincoln, Ontario, when we come back from the break. Joining me on the show today is Harold Jonker, Operations Manager of Jonker Trucking in West Lincoln. Harold, thanks for joining us on the show today. So what is this Freedom Convoy all about? I know there's been lots of things talked about. Talk to me about what is actually going on.
This convoy started as a Canada Unity Convoy, Freedom Convoy, and that's what it's continued to be about. It's about our freedom, and it's about being united as a country. The lockdowns have caused a lot of pain, suffering. The mandates that are now being in place have caused a lot of drivers, a lot of nurses, doctors, firefighters, Army, so many people in the workforce to lose their jobs, that this convoy has erupted into something that emotions can't even describe. I'm going to try to hold it together, Dee, but it's been unbelievable. I'm sitting in the line of trucks here, and quickly got a spot to park in my pickup. My truck's in another location, and it's been a zoo since I signed on this. And if I had known it was going to be this epic, I still would have signed on. It's been nonstop.
Let's just start back. I mean, you were in Ottawa, and I don't think we failed to mention that, but that's pretty obvious by you being in your truck. Last Thursday, this convoy started for you in Niagara. So talk to us about how many trucks have joined. I mean, it's been all over the place in terms of not just Ontario, but across the country, and it's even in other parts of the world now. But let's just talk about our experience here for you specifically in Ontario.
Yeah, we started Niagara 7:30 in the morning. We were supposed to leave Husky. We were on schedule. But when I got there to fuel up the truck to be ready to go, I had two other guys that were going to help me count. We didn't even count. We knew we couldn't count how many trucks we had. We got fueled up. We got everybody somewhat organized. And at 7:30, we left and we went to our next stop in Niagara on the Lake, because we had a lady that had a team that was prepared to serve 100 breakfasts to the guys set up. She said, I'm going to have it where you just get it in a bag and you can, eat it whenever you want. Like, Dean, it's been unbelievable. Hitting the bridges and seeing the crowds, not hitting the bridges, going under the bridges. It's been unbelievable. Just the first few, you're like going, how long have these people been out here in the cold waiting for us? True Canadians. Hockey sticks with flags tied to them waving. As soon as you start honking the horn, I had the pleasure to lead the convoy in one of my big trucks, and every bridge you came to, they could see you. If you put your thumbs up, the thumbs just started shaking. You could just see the joy. It was like, I said to my wife, who was with me, and she's sitting here beside me right now, she just said, they can see you. They can see you, and you're bringing them joy and hope, and that's pretty scary. When a bunch of truck drivers are bringing joy to the world, when it's we're just supposed to be bringing you food, your furniture, your car parts.
You know what I heard, Harold? I talked to a number of people, obviously reaching out to my office. I heard of people that were waiting on overpasses for 3, 4, 5 hours. I know of one particular instance in the GTA area, because trucks were delayed because of some type of accident, I think unrelated, but back in Windsor, Leamington, whatever the case may be. So waited for 4 hours. So my sense is that almost every overpass had people on there, and this was all the way up to Ottawa.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is, when we started off, we were given a route. This is the route you guys are going to take. This is your schedule. And there was a couple things that we as captains thought, oh, this is maybe not a good idea, but it stuck. This is what they set up. But the OPP called us and said, you don't want to take the 407, do you? So we didn't want to take the 407. We don't want to pay waste any money, because people are donating to a better cause than the 407. So we wanted this route. We took it, and people were frantically trying to figure out where we were going in Toronto, just so they could make sure they didn't miss us. Like Hamilton, Centennial Parkway, I had to leave my convoy at that stop on the side of the highway for safety reasons. The Hamilton police called me. They said, Harold, I might have to shut this bridge down. There's 500 supporters or more on that bridge. It was 2 lanes only. The police were doing an awesome job of keeping it safe. I said to him, I got to come in to get my convoy out of the Hamilton stop. And I was low-fiving people that were high-fiving me. It was, yeah.
Harold, hold that thought because we got to go into break and we'll come back right now, right after and talk about what's going on in Ottawa. Welcome back to the Hill Update. I've got Harold Junker from Junker Drunking joining me today. Harold, before the break, we were talking about the outstanding support on the way up to Ottawa and all over Ontario, even in the GTA. You're now in Ottawa. You've been there for almost a week. And what's going on the ground? I mean, we've been reading once again some things. CBC said this particular protest was organized by Russian influence, which I found very comical. But talk to us about what's going on the ground and what has been the response of people there in Ottawa.
I'll just say one thing about the Russians interfering. There are Russian Canadians that are here. There is every country is represented as Canadians here. Canadians from Holland, Canadians from Poland, everywhere. This has been a pretty much constant party of freedom, smiles, hugs. I had a nurse that wanted me to sign her uniform, and I signed it. I told her I was the first truck in, and she just gave me a hug, like my 4-year-old gives you a hug. You know how children just love you blindly? Mm-hmm. That was the hug was like that's constant here. I mean, this has been a peaceful, respectable holiday, and the Canadians are enjoying it because they can walk around and hug people, high five people. It's been that Saturday was, you couldn't number the people and the amount of trucks in the city. We're still counting them, and the numbers get confusing when they say this, they say that, but we're thousands. I shouldn't say thousands, but 5, 6. There's 1,000 trucks, and the cars are.
So my question to you, Harold, I know that you showed us before we got started a little doggy bag of food there. I've been reading that there have been people coming up and preparing meals. There's been a whole bunch of just an outpouring of volunteers and support for you guys. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I had to grab this little bag from a bunch of guys driving by. They got my favorite chocolate bars in there. But people are we have office supplies been donated to us. We have hygiene supplies donated to us. We have deaf fluid donated to us. It's just been an unbelievable experience and people trying to give you money. And it's that we work hard. We're used to providing for ourselves. And it's such a awkward thing that you have to learn to do. These people want to give you something. You got to let them give them something to you and give them that joy. The joy of giving is what they need is what they're enjoying. And it's been just constant giving, constant love.
So talk to us about on the ground. I've heard from a number of people that have been actually on the ground. They said it kind of represents maybe a bit of a street party, a lot of love and peace, patriotic, breaking out in song, all those kinds of things. And then I look at other places like CTV, CBC, Toronto Star, and they say that there are fringe groups involved. I mean, I guess when you have any kind of large gathering, there can be some other people that show up. What has been the thought of people on the ground? Are there some undesirables that are showing up and disrespecting? From what I've seen, from what people on the ground have sent me, it seems like the truckers are really trying to do a great job in reaching out and making sure that people feel good.
Yeah, we can't believe how peaceful this crowd has been. An MP, I don't know her name, was walking through the crowd the other day, and she was telling my driver who's up by the Parliament building that this has never happened, that you have such a big crowd for this long and violence hasn't broken out. She said, this is history. You drivers are setting history. And the drivers were outnumbered on Saturday, probably 50 to 1 or 100 to 1. The thankfulness that's being expressed to us is just giving us a resolve to say, yeah, we're not leaving. We're holding the line. I got a truck in front of me from Saskatchewan on the back of his bunk. Hold the line. That's been put on when he started in Saskatchewan.
We got about 30 seconds left. So, Harold, what I'm hearing you say is that people are prepared to stay for the long run?
Yeah, we are. Basically, what we're trying to get out there is pretty simple. Mandates and lockdowns are harmful to society. They need to go. When they go, we go. And people are walking up to us, giving us gifts and begging us, stay. And we got the support to stay. Thank you, Canada.
All right, Harold, hold that thought. We're going to go into break and we'll come back and continue talking about what's going on in Ottawa. Welcome back to the Hill Update. I got Harold Jonker joining me from Jonker Trucking all the way up in Ottawa. Harold, we were just finishing talking before the break about what's going on. What's the way forward? You guys have said that you were planning on staying for a while. So if you say that, we've heard lots about police presence. So maybe just tie in. How has the response been from the police up there?
Police have been phenomenal. They're communicating with us well. My eyes keep coming off camera because I'm watching a guy pull a toboggan of fuel down, jerry cans down the sidewalk. But back to the police, they've been wonderful. And, one police person to the next you're going to have different responses, but it's been a lot of fist pumping with a thumb up, and every truck driver is saying thank you to the police. And what Ottawa is receiving is an economy that they've been missing, right? There's money being spent here like crazy. The taxes they finally are receiving from the tourists are covering. They're recovering. That's what one guy said. This is what I needed to keep my business going.
That's good. We were talking in the last segment about some people were wondering if people just show up. I'm sure there's a variety of different people, some that just drove up for the original convoy. There's maybe more people coming in. There's obviously people staying. Is the commitment from the truckers to stay until they see some of these mandates lifted? And do you see people actually being able to follow through on that? That's quite a commitment.
Yeah, it is quite a commitment. And what our prime minister doesn't realize is I'm in my pickup right now, but my truck is at another parking lot just because I use it to move fuel around in an emergency to get to other truck drivers. The logistics is unbelievable here, and we are here to stay because most of these guys cannot work. So why not sit in Ottawa and party with Canadians? And that's what they're doing, and that's why it's the joy that and hope that the Canadians have expressed to us has given us the resolve we needed. We're not going. And Niagara region has been supportive. It's been every region across Canada stepping up and sending stuff here. It's been wonderful.
Now, I also see there's a number of other convoys that are looking to happen at different places. I know last weekend I saw there was convoys going from Niagara to Stony Creek and a variety of different things. Is that going to continue along as far as you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of convoys that are being organized in different provinces. They're some of them in Ontario. They're not being organized by us, but these convoys are picking up the ideas are being copied around the world. Australia, Europe, United States is getting one organized, starting in California, heading to Washington, D.C. I've been doing interviews with people from Russia, Israel. It's just Sean Hannity. It's just gone on and on and on. And the sad part is most of the media in the world is more supportive and asking better questions and trying to get a real feel of what is going on than the Canadian media. The Canadian media is trying to manipulate things so that we look bad. But I tell you, we're a bunch of Canadian truck drivers having the time of our life with joy, with smiles, and we're gonna stay here because Canadians have promised they'll come back every day to visit. They'll be here this weekend. There's people going, we'll be back next week, and we're coming Wednesday. We're going to come back Thursday. This has actually created a little economic boost for Canada.
Well, listen, Harold, I want to thank you very much for joining us on the show today, and I wish you and your colleagues up there all the resolve that you need, because it could be a while. So, Harold, thanks for joining us today.
We're here for the long haul.
So you see, well, you got multiple media channels reporting different things. It's always important to talk to people on the ground. Here we have Canadians really trying to make a difference, doing something they believe in, and what a different perspective from someone on the ground today. Thanks for joining us on the Hill Update.